everyone, and welcome to Take Two Radio. I'm Pam, your host, and I'm speaking to you from the gloomy, yucky, cold, rainy Chicago. Big indication that we're definitely into fall and going into winter. Not my cup of tea. And co-hosting with me today is my good buddy David, calling in from sunny New York, which is not fair.
Oh, no. Well, it was sunny. Now it's real, and it's just got dark out. But it's been a nice day here, but I think we're in for it.
Yeah, I know. It's usually whatever leaves here you guys get, and also, you know, what happens down in Florida goes up the coast and you guys get, I guess, and sometimes what happens like in the New Orleans area, if they're having, the hurricane type weather and that, sometimes that'll make it up to Chicago. And then, of course, we have Canada to thank for, our cold weather and our snow and stuff that brings it down to us. So, yeah, I don't know where is a happy middle.
I don't know. Maybe right here.
Yeah, I don't know. But I know I do want to find that out someday. And I do believe that our guest is called in. So today we're very pleased to welcome with us writer, director, and producer Tyler-Maddox-Simms. And let me go ahead and pick up her call. Tyler, is this you?
Yes, it is. Hi, how are you?
Hi. We were just discussing the weather.
It's fluctuating. It'll be hot and then cold and then hot. Are you guys up north? Are you in Southern California?
No, none of the above.
No.
I'm in Chicago, and it's gloomy, cold, and rainy today.
Oh.
And David, my co-host, is in New York and said it was a nice day. So.
Okay. I'm in Los Angeles.
Yeah. Rub it in.
Yeah. I know how.
Oh.
Well, I want to thank you so much for joining us today, Tyler. You sound like an extremely busy woman.
Thank you, guys, so much for having me on your show. I'm very happy to be speaking with you, and always make time, to talk to. I read a little bit about your show and was very excited about the call today. So.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, I'd like to actually start out with a little background on yourself. Would you tell us how you decided or what made you decide you wanted to be in the entertainment business?
I've always wanted to be in the entertainment business as long as I can remember. I really have. Since I was about 7, I've, always, I was in Euclid, Ohio, and I'd have my shows, I've always, it's something I've always known, this is my path, this is my life path. Yeah.
Was it more that you wanted to be an actress, though, when you were younger, or did you know that you wanted to be a writer and behind the camera?
I did not. I started out, I wanted to act, and then when I picked up a camera, and I said, I like this. I like writing stories. I've always liked to write stories, and through my journey, I found the right place, where I fit in this big entertainment business. So to answer your question, it started out acting, and then it broadened from there.
Well, I know there's not too many women that are behind the camera, even in this day and age, which I find very sad and unbelievable, because I know that there are so many women out there that are capable of doing it. Why do you think this is?
I have no idea. I have no idea because there are so many talented and qualified and creative women, and I have no idea why. I rarely, spend time. I'm so busy trying to create. rarely even question, well, why?
Right.
I'm just plugging away, what I'm doing and trying to stay focused.
Definitely. Well, you're doing a phenomenal job. I mean, I've watched some of your trailers, and I haven't seen full movies yet, but one of the ones that I watched a trailer of was Who's Watching the Kids, and that looks hysterical.
It's funny. It's funny. And I love family entertainment. I have she's almost 8-year-old daughter, and I like films. I like to make films, that the whole family can enjoy. And I'm glad you like the trailer. That makes me feel great.
Oh yeah, it looked really funny. This kid's taking off. You can just picture in your mind what's going to happen, So.
Right.
For our listeners, Tyler has made quite a few movies. There's Beverly Hood, Love Chronicles, the sequel, Love Chronicles, Secrets Revealed, Who's Watching the Kids, and now Power of Love. And all of your movies seem to have very well-known actors in them. I'd like to actually start a little bit with just Beverly Hood. You had music on there by the original members of Destiny's Child, which, of course, includes Beyonce, Kelli Rowland, and so on. And they weren't known then when you had that.
No.
So what made you decide to go with that band?
They were just awesome. It was my first film.
I know, right?
Really, they were. It was like, they're beautiful, they're awesome, they're nice. It was their first film. It was my first film. And they were not, quote unquote, the mega stars that they are now.
Right.
And when I met them, when I was introduced to them, the group, when I say them, I just thought they were awesome. And I was really happy that they would be in my film. And and it turned out to be a great thing for the film.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm sure that it helped out the film a lot once, they became who they were, and you probably sold a lot more movies, I would imagine.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Seriously. It was like, oh, wow.
Did you make lifelong friendships with any of them?
No, I wouldn't say, no. No, wish I would have, but but no, they were doing a job, I was doing my job. Very nice meeting, very nice working with them, and that's that. I'd love to do a movie one day with Kelli Rowland and Beyonce. Would love to, so somewhere later on. Down the road.
Right.
But it would probably be a theatrical, a film for theater. So, yeah.
Well, you could always, knock on the door and say, hey, remember me? I knew you when, so.
Right. Right. Security. Yeah.
Well, would you mind telling our listeners a little bit about each of the movies except Power of Love, so that way, we'll talk about Power of Love in a minute.
Beverly Hood, just a two-liner, basically about an African-American family from the South that win the lottery and move to Beverly Hills next door to an affluent African-American family. And if anything I could compare it to, it would be a urban version of the Beverly Hillbillies.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I can see that.
Pretty much, very fun to make that film, great cast to work with. That was my first project. My second project, which you just mentioned, is called Love Chronicles. And I was very fortunate to have Terrance Howard play the lead character, which is a radio DJ. Robin Givens was a special guest on his show, and I have three stories, three individual callers that call in and get advice from Terrance Howard and Robin Givens, love advice. And then Love Chronicles, the sequel, it was pretty much the same format, Ving Rhames was one of the DJs. And let me see, Vivica A, she played the wife of one of the other DJs, and it was just a great story. Well, 3 stories, I should say. That
right.
Tied together. Yeah. Yeah. And yeah.
And then who's watching the kids? We mentioned.
Right. Who's watching kids? These kids. They're from Malibu. They both come from single-parent households. The parents decide to leave the kids alone and let them bond with the, supervision of their nanny, or manny, I should say.
Right.
And the nanny gets an emergency, and he has to drop them off in South Central Los Angeles at a relative. So the story is pretty much the kids, their adventure, going back home, their adventure through this foreign neighborhood, and how they get back home.
Yeah, it was pretty funny when the kids first get to the house of that relative, and she's like, I don't like kids, I don't want to see kids,
Right?
I don't think I would have wanted to stay there either.
No, not at all. Not at all.
That was pretty funny. Right from that point, there's going to be trouble. So. So, what did it feel like when you finally finished your first film?
It felt great. It was independent filmmaking. It's an art. I mean, it really is, to make a film independently and also find distribution for the film. It was just a very. I felt great. I felt a sense of accomplishment because it was very hard. It wasn't it's not an easy task to
right.
To independently make a film, not a studio film, but basically when you do something independently, you're in charge of all aspects of the film and to, get it done. So I was relieved, to be honest with you.
Right.
It's done, Yeah.
Yeah. Well, how do you decide on which actor or actress will be in one of your films? Do you have a certain actor in mind when you're writing a character, or does that just come later? Sometimes.
Well, sometimes I do. And then sometimes you can have, I can have an idea in my mind, and I'll give it to an actor or an actress, and that's the beauty, I think, of, directing and working with good actors. They can give me a whole spin, a new spin on something. They bring a character to life. But when I'm writing, yes, sometimes I have people in mind. And then other times I'm just writing, just trying to create.
David, you had a question?
Yes, Tyler. Who were your role models growing up, and how have they influenced your career?
My role models. My grandmother was my role model. My mom, and that might sound, I don't know how it sounds, but they really were. They influenced my career, basically letting me believe I grew up in a very modest, lower income, single family home. But my mother and my grandmother, they made me believe, that I can do whatever I want to do in my life as long as I prepare. And if it's this direction, just to support. And when you encourage, I think, a child, it definitely plays a big